everyone, and welcome back to the Crochet Depot. Today I am going to teach you guys how to make a hat with a double crochet stitch. If you have not learned the double crochet stitch, please go back and refer to the last video that I made where I did teach how to make that stitch, and then come back here and then you can take part in the project. Let's get started. These are the things that you're going to need for this project: yarn, a pair of scissors, a crochet hook, and a darning needle. Today I have chosen to use a size H or a size 5mm hook. You can also use a size G if you choose. Like any crochet project, you're going to need to start out with a slip knot. Let's make that now. If you don't know how to make a slip knot, one of the very first videos that I did teaches you how to do that. And now we're going to need to make a chain. And if you don't know how to make a chain, I also have a video showing how to make a chain. Alright, let's go ahead and chain 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, go ahead and make 50 chains, and then I will meet you back. Okay, now that you have 50 chains, we're going to make our first double crochet. What I want you to do is count 3 spaces from the hook, or 3 chain spaces from the hook. As you can see, this particular chain space right here already has this loop coming out of it, so we're not going to count this one. This one right here is the very first chain space. 1, 2, 3. Right here in this chain space is where we are going to put our double crochet. Alright, now we're going to make 1 double crochet in every chain space along your chain. Continue to make double crochets all the way down the chain, and I'll meet you back. Right here toward the end, you are going to have exactly 48 double crochets. Down here at this end, when we skipped to that very third chain space right here, we actually created a double crochet with this chain right here. So this right here is going to count as our first chain. When you count all of them to the end, you have exactly 48, and that's what you're going to need. Now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and turn your work. We're going to do the same thing in this row that we did in the last row. We're going to make 1 double crochet in every space across. Make sure to skip this space right here, because this is the one that the chain is coming out of. This is the top of this post, and since there's a chain above this post already, you don't need to put a stitch in there. And then just continue making double crochets along. And then I will meet you at the other end. Okay, now we're at the very end of this row. I'm doing the very last 2 double crochets. Make sure to get all the way to the very last post. This is the very last post here, okay? You want to put a stitch right above that post in that space. Now right here is a post, okay? And here's the chain coming above that post. We've already made it, making our chain 2. So now we're going to go ahead and make another double crochet in the space next to it, right here. Right here. Okay, so just like the last row, we're going to make double crochets all the way across the entire row. And this is the only thing that you're going to do the entire hat. And in order for it to fit an average size adult woman, you're going to make 40 rows. If you want to make an average size man's hat, you're going to do 42 rows. And just go ahead and double crochet all the way to the end. I'm off camera here. Go ahead and just do all your double crochets and do 40 rows, and then I will meet you back when we are finished. Okay, so I have done 40 rows exactly on this hat. Right now you have a long rectangle, okay? And right here I'm going to finish up my very last stitch with you so I can show you what to do. You're going to make your last double crochet into that last top of that very last post, and then you're going to chain 1 and pull this yarn. Now what I want you to do before you pull the yarn through, you have to cut your working yarn like I've done, okay? So make sure that this strand of yarn that's coming off of your work here, make sure that strand of yarn is about, I would say about 10, no, let's say probably about 15 inches to 20 inches long, because you're going to want it long enough to sew up the entire side of the hat and then weave around the top of the hat to make a gather. So go ahead and cut that, and then what we're going to do is once it's cut, you're going to get that yarn, okay, that's on the hook, and you're going to pull it through. You're just going to pull it right through here. Just like this, okay? And that's going to give it a little bit of a knot right here, okay? Now, you're going to take the end of your working yarn like this and get your darning needle that you had. Whoops, sorry, I just bumped the camera. Get the darning needle that you had and thread it with your yarn. All right. Now, what I want you to do is take both ends, this end and this end, and I want you to bring them together just like this, okay, so that you have both ends of your rectangle together like this. This end is the end we're going to be working from because that's where the working yarn is at. All right. When you have your two corners together, you're going to weave stitch this together. So going that direction and pulling through like that. And back through the same stitch here. Just like that. All right. Now the corner is completely done. Then you want to go through the back loops right here. The back loops on both sides. So not the entire stitch, but just the back loops on their own. You want to go through those all the way down until you have your hat sewn up along the side. Just take it all the way down, just like that. And even if for some reason you go through the stitch, the entire stitch, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. It won't matter that much, but you want to kind of make it look as seamless as you can. It just makes for a nicer looking hat. Okay, so just continue doing exactly what I've been doing. And if you're lost and you need to re-see this, just go ahead and back it up a little bit, back the video up, and re-watch it. Okay, so now we're at the very end of the hat, and I am just doing the very last lace through. Okay, now you're going to want to flip your hat this direction. Now I know this looks really big. This looks really huge. You're like, wow, this is going to be way too big for me. It's actually not. It seems kind of big, but it won't be. It'll be nice and comfy. And then when you cuff it up like this, when you make the cuff on it, it's going to look really nice. Now, what you can do from here, before we take it around here and weave it through at the end, or at the top rather, you have one of two options. You can either weave it and make it round at the top, or you can just sew it across the top here and make one of those cat hats. So again, that you can make a cat hat just with a double crochet stitch, or just with a half double crochet stitch, or even with just a single crochet stitch. So that's up to you. I'm going to make mine round because I'm going to put a pom-pom on mine. But if you wanted to just take this and lace this back and forth just like you did the side, you can do that and you'll have a kitty cat hat. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue with the lacing. Bring your needle through like this and around. You can do this a couple of times. You can just weave your needle back and forth like this through the work along the top, and that works too. Just pull it through and then just continue doing that. Of course, if you're making the cat hat, you won't have to do that. You just weave it across, or you just sew it across as you did the side. Anyway, as you're going, it's going to gather what you want to do if you're going to round it out. So just weave your needle back and forth like this, all the way around the top of the hat, and then just keep doing that, and I will meet you where we started. We're almost to the spot where we started here with the gather. Okay, I'm just going to weave through till you get right back to where that gather began, and then go right through there. Make sure you get all the way around, and then you're going to pull your yarn and you're going to tighten this. You don't want to break your yarn, so be careful, but you do want to tighten it just like that. Pull it tight, not too tight, because then you'll wind up pulling all of this gather here along the side. You just want the gather at the top, and then take your needle and come across like this and pull it through like you're going to sew up the top. And just go through a couple spots like this, just like that, and then just make a knot right here. So pull that through until you have about that loop right there. Same with the darning needle, go through that loop once and go through that loop twice, just like if you were sewing. Okay, and pull that down and tighten that little spot down there. Weave in your end a little bit. We can just go back and forth like this. This works just as easily. Just finding a spot to put the yarn through. It's already knotted. This is not going to come out when you cut the yarn. Okay, so you've hidden the yarn. Get your scissors and just go ahead and cut that right there. Now, that is actually the inside of your hat. So you're going to want to pull that, put your hand inside like this, and pull it through the other way. If you still have a strand of yarn like this, all you need to do is get your darning needle and thread it with this particular yarn, and then put your needle through the top, push it through to the other side, to the inside, like that, and now it's on the inside, and then you can weave it around as well. Make sure you just weave it back and forth like you did the other one. I apologize if I'm shaking the camera. This is a little hard. Okay, pull it through. It's already knotted on the other side, so it's okay. And go ahead and snip that off. Alright, now you can put your hat back right side out, like this. And now your hat is exactly the way it should be. Now cuff it, and you have a hat. And now it's optional. If you made the rounded hat, you can add a pom-pom. If you made the kitty cat hat, your hat would be finished. So it does look like it's really big, but it's not really be that big for you. You'll be able to wear it, and it's actually going to be very comfortable because it's cuffed, and so it'll give you extra warmth around your ears here. Okay. Alright guys, well, thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you feel like you learned something. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe, and you will be able to get the tutorials that are coming in the future. Thanks so much. Have a great day.